session. Before I forget, it happens. And as I was saying, thank you very much for joining us. We are very pleased to welcome you to this space that Asocopy has created for you. Today, we continue with our series of webinars, which are held the last Thursday of every month with different relevant and updated topics that for sure will contribute to your professional development and the professional development of all English teachers in Colombia. We invite you, of course, to participate in our annual conference From the Global South, Our Roots, Perspectives, and Transformations. The conference this year will take place at Universidad de Caldas in the beautiful city of Manizales. Looking forward to it. It will happen on October 12 to 14. Before we start, and since we want to give some time for more people to join us, we want you to see some important news that we have for you. And of course, we are here thanks to Asocopy. Remember that we are having many different activities. We are closing the registration for our diploma teaching English to children on Monday. This is a perfect opportunity for you to not only practice your communicative competence, but also learning many important things about, for example, material design, reading strategically, foundations of teaching English to children, and many engagement strategies with a group of professors that are ready for you. For today's webinar, we are very happy to welcome, our webinar today is Artificial Intelligence, the Truths and Future in Educational Context. And we have with us Katie Ramirez Correa. She holds a BA in Bilingual Education from Institución Universitaria Colombo Americana Única, a specialization in translation from Universidad del Rosario, and a master's degree in Educational Technology from Universidad Oberta de Cataluña. She has more than 9 years of experience in teaching English and technology and has participated as a teacher trainer in the Immersion Project. Currently, she's part of the board of directors of Asocopy as our vice president and is the director of innovation at UNI. Welcome, Katie. We also have with us Professor Juan Carlos Torres Rincón from Universidad de La Sabana, who holds a master's in English language teaching from self-directed learning from the same university, and a modern languages teacher degree from Universidad Pedagógica Nacional. He's a teacher trainer for the local English immersion and trainer of the native speaker training programs for the Ministry of Education. Juan Carlos has worked as an academic coach, and he also has developed diverse projects as teacher trainer in pedagogical approaches and resources. Thanks for joining us in this webinar, and for our audience for being here. And then Katie and Juan Carlos, the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be here today, sharing with you some reflections upon what artificial intelligence means for education. So, well, we are together here sharing what we have discussed, what we have researched, and what we have experienced so far with artificial intelligence. So, Juan Carlos, welcome.
No, it's a pleasure to be here. In this space, we basically want to share our experience, but more than sharing something that everybody's talking about, what we want here is to discuss and to show things that are relevant nowadays, but it's uncertain what is happening afterwards. So all the information that we are going to share with you today is going to be focused on that, focus on what we are living today, but what we're expecting for tomorrow, because definitely this artificial intelligence world is going to change education, but nowadays we don't know where. So the role of the teacher is going to be crucial for this. So, well, there we are.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. Well, so we're gonna we prepared a presentation with some ideas and details that we wanted to share with you. So Juan Carlos, share there. So this is the title that we have thought about, like artificial intelligence, the truths and the future in educational context. We have seen a lot of news, videos, and like TikToks on Instagram, talking about this new tool that has evolved into something that we need to, let's say, accept because it's here and it's going to be here for so long. So we can continue one. So Adriana already said something about us. So Katie Ramirez and Juan Carlos, we have been together preparing many things in regards to technology, and today about artificial intelligence. So this is more or less what we are going to talk about. We're going to have a like we're going to mention tools to facilitate learning, what artificial intelligence is, which are the fears in education, what is our responsibility as educators, and finally, where is this topic going in terms of education? Well, these are the topics that we're going to discuss, but not necessarily in that specific order. So we're going to have like a very flexible discussion and talk more than a serious session, let's say.
Okay, so
there's something very important.
something that we have today and something that we have been discussing for many years is like, okay, we have mentioned different approaches and we all have studied like those approaches that were traditional, but the way that we were studying many years ago has changed. And the thing that we face when we go out to the real world is that we cannot teach in the way that we learned, but not because of the approaches, especially because of the tools and different elements that have been appearing during these times. So, for example, when we were in the school, basically we were there with a board, even a green or a blackboard, chalk, and that was like the tools that existed by that time. So the approach was there, yeah. Probably in terms of communication, the teachers didn't have like enough papers, ways to know what was happening around the world. So they were like doing what they could with the elements that they had over there. So can I blame on the teachers, on the old school teachers, because they were teaching in that way? Well, not really, because they were creating their own approaches. So if I say, okay, do you remember about like the communicative approach and the silent way? For example, something about Cleland. Nowadays, it is easier for us to know and to get to know that information. But when we start studying in order to become teachers, what we realize is that like, oh, so these approaches have been there like for many years. This is one of the elements that we want to discuss today, because artificial intelligence is there and has been there for many years as well. But at some point, you discover and you say like, oh, okay, this is new. This is something that I can use in my class. This is something that, wow. And then you realize that many people have been using that, or that these kind of elements have been in processes of evolution for quite some time. So at that point, it's like, okay, wait. So what if my students have been using this And I didn't realize until this time, until today, and you are like aware of this, and you say like, okay, I have two options. Do I start using them, or should I ban them? Should I just say like, okay, this is a no for my class? And this is one of the elements that we are going to discuss today, like in terms of the role of the teacher in regards of elements and tools that are appearing, and at some point you discover those tools, and now what? Remember about Facebook. What happened when Facebook was like, yeah, not today is TikTok, definitely, but when we discovered that Facebook existed and they were like using those groups for many elements, for many things, and we were thinking like, okay, that is for entertainment and for connecting people. But then you realize that it started developing different tools and websites and different pages, everything there, that you say like, okay, so maybe I can use that for other reasons different to that. And then you have LinkedIn and all those elements, and well, it's like a snowball that starts like bringing more and more elements to the floor. And then you say like, okay, so why should I do next, or what should I do with this? So this video that is super short, it's not what it says, it's what is happening there. Yeah. So math, one of the subjects that we remember, one of the subjects that probably brought us here. So that's why we are English teachers, right? Because probably math is something that was not our cup of tea, maybe. So, okay, well, as you can see, and as I am talking and you are seeing like the video, this is something that if this existed in the times that I was receiving math and algebra and everything, well, by that time, I remember that it was like the board, no video beam, definitely not internet and everything. Cool, good. If we go to YouTube and we check that video again, the most important is that I don't want to focus on the video, but I want to focus on something. This app has been in the market, has been in around the world for more
About
than
7
years.
years.
So 7 years ago,
Photomath.
it appeared.
It
It
appeared.
appeared. Yeah, it appeared here. So the thing that we are that we want to discuss, the thing that we want to like realize is that these elements that, well, where is it? Here. Up here. If I think about 2015, it's like, well, it sounds not that far. Not that far. But if we think about like, okay, today we are on, yeah, in this year, it's definitely 2023, and we're talking about something that has been in the market and people have been using, like the Google Translator and everything. So at some point, we realize that these elements are present and have been there in the class. If imagine that you're a math teacher, and today in this webinar
You discovered.
you realize this, and you're like, oh, fantastic. So how could I know that my students from 2015 have been using this? Because I realized that today. That is one of the main points and one of the main elements that we want to discuss today, because definitely was just a little example that many elements that we see today have been used and have been there for more
For
time.
some time.
Yeah, for the thing that we know. But okay, this is like the practical element, but what is the concept of that, and where was it born and everything? So Katie, what's the
Well,
concept of AI?
oh my God, this is the most important thing. I mean, we have been hearing, we have been seeing, we have been looking at many things related to artificial intelligence. We have movies about that. I don't know, maybe you have watched Iron Man, and Iron Man has this artificial intelligence, which is Jarvis, and you see this, but then what is artificial intelligence? So, and you change the slide. Well, what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, the basic concept is the study of computer systems that attempt to model and apply the intelligence of the human mind. So It's a machine that is trying to replicate what we have here in our brains, what we like, our thinking, yeah, the way we produce things in our brains. Writing a program to pick up the objects in a picture, for example, yeah, that is the basic concept of artificial intelligence. But this is not a concept that is from 10 years ago. It has been there for more time. Next slide, please. So in 1950, more than 50 years ago, people like Alan Turing was imagining this concept. Can machines think? So he developed a very important machine that helped to finish the Second World War, and he developed many other studies related to machines, computers, and he was thinking on, can machines think? Can machines think what we think? And then he developed many other things related to the study of artificial intelligence. So as you can see, this is not new. I mean, the imagination of the human mind, of machines doing things for us, has been there for so long. And you change there. So the concept is not new. It's not ChatGPT, as we have seen that like the first thing now. Next, please. So do you recognize these apps, by the way? Waze, we use it for commuting. Spotify for music. Instagram for checking pictures, and TikToks for videos. All of these apps have integrated artificial intelligence. How does Spotify know the amount of songs that I play and how frequent they are in my playlist? And at the end of the year, and I'm sure that you saw all of that in your Spotify, show you which were the most played songs during the 2022. And then you say, oh yes, Spotify show you something that like was evident throughout the year in terms of the things that you were listening to. Instagram, the filters that you have on Instagram, that is artificial intelligence as well. TikTok. So nothing new here. And you change, please. Boom, we have ChatGPT. Juan Carlos, what have you heard of ChatGPT? What have you seen of ChatGPT?
Well, recently people are talking about that, and people are using it for professional and personal reasons. Yeah,
Yes.
so it's like even if you want to see how that works, even if you don't need it, you go there and you visit and you type something in English or in Spanish, and it works perfectly in both languages. And then you check, and you're amazed, and you cannot believe at some point that it is a bot, that is a machine. At some point, it's like you feel that someone is explaining you something. So basically, the ChatGPT is here, and people are just, even if they don't need it, they go there and they want to see like how good it is. So many people go there and try to make it fail. Even if I know the answer, even if I know things, it's like, okay, I'm going to type. And when you realize, it's like, okay, so now that it has gained my confidence, now that I say like, okay, this is kind of true, now I use it. So sometimes people use it first in order to test it, to see if it's like really good, if it works, and then they start using it like depending on the
Exactly
on the real lives.
So what is ChatGPT? Well, ChatGPT is a chat generative pre-trained transformer. It's a chatbot that it's pre-trained. So it's very important to have this pre-trained. In this case, it works with information that has been uploaded from somewhere. And using this information, it's able to produce what we see in the chat. Can you continue, please? Pick one, please. So we have ChatGPT, which is the one that we have been seeing, like these amazing answers. Imagine that there is a person talking to you, like a real one, but that is not the only one. I mean, that is not the only tool that we have with artificial intelligence. Next, we have Microsoft 365 Copilot. Have you seen this? Have you checked what this tool can do for us? So artificial intelligence helping you in the development of any task. Yeah, for example, a Word document, a PowerPoint, Excel, you give the information and Copilot creates something for you, made up for something for you, create a presentation out of some hints that I give, and it like make more efficient what you do on a regular basis with Microsoft Word, Excel, and etc. Next. Synthesia. Synthesia is a very interesting tool, which is for creation of videos with avatars. As you can see, the person that it's in the image, that it's a generated, let's say, avatar, not a real person. It's an avatar, but it's exactly like you give some information, you give some hints, and this application creates the video for you with narration, with images, with everything. Next. We have DALL-E. DALL-E is also an application that created OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT. And it's basically you give some information, some keywords, and this app creates images like the one that you've seen there. An avocado chair, a hot dog with a hat, a car that it's flying with red elephants and everything. Someone is asking in the chat that Synthesia, it's a free app. No. Unfortunately, no, you need to pay for that. But that's basically it. Next. OpenAI Whisper, which is also from OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT and DALL-E, and this is the creation, like it has an audio and it gives you the transcript, but it's perfect and it understands any language, no matter if it is fast or not. If it is in Japanese, it can translate from Japanese, from Korean, Spanish, Russian, anything. Maybe you can type this on Google, OpenAI Whisper, and there you have some examples of how it works. So it's very, very impressive. Next. And Midjourney, which is for pictures as well. Maybe you saw some weeks ago, maybe 1 or 2 months, the dinosaurs of the professions. Did you see that, Juan Carlos? Yeah,
Yeah.
the teacher, the architecture.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the one about the Pope, that it was super recent. Like the Pope was appearing
Like
with a
2 weeks
jacket.
ago.
Yeah, like with a white jacket. Like it was like Balenciaga, probably. I don't remember the brand basically.
Yeah.
But many people thought that it was real. So people were saying like, is this the first fake news that spread around the world, thinking about like what the artificial intelligence can like deceive you and they can treat you? So probably, yeah, you saw that. And if I show that picture to my mom or my aunt, she's gonna say like, yeah, it's the Pope with the jacket. And probably she's going to say like, oh, but he looks good. And I say, yeah, it's the Pope. And she goes to sleep and definitely she's thinking that picture is
Convinced
real.
that it's
Totally real.
Yeah. So Midjourney is very interesting because it works like a wall from Facebook, and it works very hard, very fast. I'm sorry. And you type something, and you need to be very attentive because it develops a lot of images at the same time, and people are interacting as well with Midjourney. So it's kind of fast, the things that they create here. All right, can you continue, please? So, artificial intelligence for education. So, this ChatGPT uses natural language processing techniques to respond to user-generated prompts. So you ask ChatGPT a question, or you give the chat a prompt, and it replies using natural language. That's why you think it's a person that is talking to you, but it's not, it's a chat. But this is using the, let's say, the way people talk to respond to the things that I am given. Next, please. So artificial intelligence is not what we think. Yeah. ChatGPT is not perfect. It kind of looks perfect, but it's not perfect. It lacks of the ability to understand the complexity of human language and conversation. Yeah. There are things that, although it can get a lot of information from many other parts, it is not going to be perfect because it's going to be lack of something that makes it like human. Yeah. It is simply trained to generate words based on a given input. Yeah. So there is a big concern, yeah, and fear. Homework. What if I assign my students a piece of writing and it is generated through this ChatGPT? Well, the both outputs might be fluent, persuasive, consistently in grammar, but it's formulaic. It is structured, it's like it has a pattern. You need to see and you need to understand that your student and to recognize your students. You know your students, and you know who can write in a certain way and who cannot do it. So let's imagine that you assign an essay, and then this student that it's not that good with grammar, with vocabulary, gives you a so perfect homework, and it's convincing, and you check, for example, on Google, if it's taken from somewhere and you don't find it, and you start like saying, okay, maybe yes. So Juan Carlos, what would you do there? How can we do these interactions with ChatGPT?
Well, something important to remark, when we talk about so we have two possible futures in terms of what we imagine that is going to happen. One is the future of Back to the Future, and the other one is the future of Terminator. So one is going with when you are going to see like flying cars, and the other one is when everything is just like trashed, like robots took the world and everything. So at some point it's like, well, neither or, because we still control things. So at some point it's like, yeah, what is happening, for example, nowadays is that Elon Musk and other different people are trying to stop this because they fear what it can do to humans, and basically because we are not prepared for this. And the problem is that, as I mentioned before, like with the example of the Pope and everything, is that, for example, not all the information that comes from a bot is 100% real. So it is called hallucinating when the information is not real. So you can tell the artificial intelligence, hey, you're wrong, but you help correcting that, and the artificial intelligence is going to say like, oh, okay, and it's going to take that information and is going to update the database. So basically it's like a Wikipedia, because all the information is not coming only from Google, but it's coming from different books about every single subject, every single element. So that's why the ChatGPT is so intelligent, and it's not because he goes to Google and he takes like the first part and the first link that it finds. No, it has been fed with a lot of information. So if you ask like, hey, ChatGPT, where did you take that information from, or who
wrote this?
Everything, the ChatGPT is going to tell you not a link. It's not going to tell you based on Google, but it's going to tell you that the artificial intelligence has been training and studying. So that's why the artificial intelligence learning.
Yeah,
that's why.
Can you change the slide, please?
Definitely.
All right. So we have some general uses. I mean, these are ideas. This is not like a law or something that you like are doing because I say so. these are ideas that you can have for you, for education, for your classes, for your context, for your students. You can use ChatGPT as a tutor. Yeah, these can provide personalized feedback and guidance to students in terms of the basic things like grammar use, punctuation, maybe giving or providing explanations on a variety of educational topics. Yeah, like concepts, basic concepts of things that are done in a class. Maybe, please. For language learning, what if I give my students the chance to interact with a ChatGPT in order to practice any structure? For example, I always use the present simple as example. Maybe you can give the chance, like, okay, ask questions to the bot, and then they have an interaction of language, like providing models that they can have a conversation. Yeah. And they can see like which are the answers or the possible answers that the chat can give. Next, please. There is another one here. To generate personalized learning content, ChatGPT or similar models could be used to generate customized learning materials for students. Yeah, maybe you have or you give the prompt to create a list of, I don't know, strategies for something, or the most common verbs in a spoken language, something that is customized for your students. Yeah, maybe you are thinking of, I need a list of this and this and this, but I don't have the time to check all the resources that I can have to create a material that is for my group of students. So Juan Carlos, you remember what you created some time ago? A list of verbs that are used for TPR.
Yes. So what happened is, like, sometimes as a teacher, you know what you are looking for, but for example, when you go to Google, like for example, like Busy Teacher, one of those websites in which you can have like a database of material and worksheets and everything that is lesson plans that are already there, you spend a lot of time looking for something that is going to fulfill your needs. So sometimes you spend more time looking for something, and at some point it's like, yeah, I need to generate my own material. So what happened is that I was saying, many schools ask me like, hey, I need commands for my students that are not like English students, like because I want to have my school like bilingual school. And I say, okay, so may I go to the bathroom, please? Teacher, how do you say? And it's fine. But if you think about that, in 10th, 11th grade, you're not going to say all the time, like, can you tie my shoes? Can you? Because those commands are not useful anymore. So imagine you need to sit down and you need to say like, okay, I need to think about those commands because the school needs that, blah, blah, blah. So what I did is that, hey, can you write commands for EFL students? And it was like at least from 1st to 5th grade. And I say, okay, could you please complement for 11th grades? And it was like, fine. And it gave me like the whole thing, like as a process. So when you show that, yeah, it started like with like, may I
With
go
hello.
to the bathroom, please? And at some point it's like, could you rephrase that? It was not clear, or something like that. So it was something that I needed. Yes. Was it something that I could do? Of course, definitely. But did it save time for me? Oh yeah,
Yes.
definitely. It saved a lot of time. And I was like, okay, so I am becoming lazy, but it was like the first time in which, like, I say, like, I really need this. Let's try. And once that I checked it, it's like, this is definitely the thing that I needed, because it was really good. Of course, I checked it before I sent it to the school. So I checked like grammar. Of course, ChatGPT
There
is
you
going to
have
know more
something very
grammar.
important. You have mentioned something very, very important. Everything that it's there, that it's producing for us, we are the ones that validate or say that it's good or not good. Yeah, you said something that I checked before I sent this to the schools. Why? Because you are the one that knows the topic. So you can check, oh, yes, but oh, maybe this one, it's not working. Maybe I need to delete this from the list. Things like that. Can you click another one, please? Well, to facilitate collaborative learning, why not? ChatGPT can be used to facilitate discussions, to create a collaboration among students. You can assign a homework in which students need to interact with the chat, and you give them the prompts that they need to use to have a discussion, and the discussion with the chat and the discussion among the students. Yeah, like what are the answers that this chat is giving me, and what are the things that I need to analyze and to like respond to the chat. Yeah. So Jimena says it's not about being lazy, but it's about using the tools. Of course, this is a tool that can help us. You teachers, as teachers, always complain because we don't have the time. We have a lot of things to do, paperwork, marking things, grading. This can help us a lot. Okay, so you can skip no, sorry, do not skip. So what to do? What can we do about that? It's not a matter of banning the tool. We need to learn how to use this. Focus on higher order thinking skills. It's not just asking like, when was America discovered? That is a basic question, but how was this possible? Think higher order thinking skills. You need to incorporate authentic students' experiences and student connections, yeah, and have open discussions about ChatGPT and its uses in your class. There you go.
Okay, cool. So I was reading and Jimena was mentioning something important, and it's like, it's not as being lazy, but what happens when we are living the future? So today is the future. Remember when Wikipedia arrived? So the first thing that we as teachers say is like, hey, you need to go to Google Scholar, you need to read books, but don't tell me that the information that you are
It's taken from Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's taken from Wikipedia. So if you answer your teacher that is like, yeah, teacher, I found this on Wikipedia. Your teacher is gonna say like, check other sources. Why? Because. Okay, so as Jimena is saying, today is the future. So now, Futurepedia. So
Boom.
when we talk about Wikipedia and we go to Futurepedia, well, let's go to Futurepedia. Why not? So I was checking Futurepedia, and this is like the main website. Is Futurepedia is the homepage, and you can have different things here, elements, well, that you can find, and well, there are 1478 AI tools. So as you can see, like, the ChatGPT is
just one from many.
The tip of the iceberg. Yeah, is there. So as Laura was saying, these tools sometimes are not for free because people develop these elements, and it's like when you teach classes and you say like, do you teach for free? And you say like, but it's different. Yes and no. Somebody is creating this, basically,
and working
an engineer
and investing a lot of money.
Exactly. So because this is the future, yes. Remember that the ChatGPT that we are using is the ChatGPT 3, the third version, and the fourth version is going to be paid, but that fourth version is going to be crazy. So if the ones that we are using today is crazy, and you say like, wow, it's awesome. Well, think about the 4, and you say like, okay, what's the difference? Because now it can work with images. So it's, for example, you take a picture of the things that you have in your kitchen, and basically it tells you what you can cook. So something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the recipe and everything, so the ChatGPT 4 is going to be more focused on images and documents recognition. So far, can we use the ChatGPT 3? Yes, for the things that we needed. Remember the example that I gave about the commands? We can use like, hey, could you create a scope and sequence for first graders about EFL in Colombia with a length of 3 months? Every day I have 45 minutes and in form of a table, and it's going to do it for you. We have those scope and sequences in our books, in those textbooks that we have with publishing houses. But in case that you need to create something, there you are. However, Futurepedia is that it's going to tell you like the data bank of the resources that people are inventing every single day, because this is like something new. And I was checking one that is called Piggy Magic. Why? Well, why not? Let's say what Piggy Magic can do. So this is a version that is more focused to for developing on cell phones, but you can create about something. The example that we were doing is like create a quiz about technology, and you click on go, and it starts like creating. Remember that artificial intelligence is not a data bank. An artificial intelligence, it's something that creates answers based on information that has been fed. Yeah, exactly. So the input is there. So it's not something that you click and it appears just like that. The ChatGPT does it because it's a chat. But when you need products like the ones that we were checking, basically it needs time to produce something, okay? Because it's creating a product based on your needs. So the ones about videos, text, or everything, well, definitely. So here we are, tech talk, a quiz trivia quiz. Okay, so what is an algorithm? A type of computer virus, a software program, a step-by-step process or set of rules, a type of mathematical equation. You say like, I have no idea.
Number 3.
Number 3, okay, let's see.
Yes.
Okay, and it starts grading and everything. Yeah, it was number 3. Woohoo! And well, yeah, I didn't do anything. I just type technology in a page, and you can say like, oh yeah, but with Google Forms I can do it, and with Google Forms and with WordWall, and maybe exactly. So one thing is when you check products that were created by humans to help humans. When you check everything related to Drive, like Google Forms, WordWall, a Padlet, it's a product that someone did. So probably it might be right or not. When you check something based on artificial intelligence, still you need to check. However, the chance of finding something that is not true is less. However, as teachers, of course, we first check if that thing is working or not. Yeah. And as Laura was saying, this one is for free, but definitely in Futurepedia, there are many elements, especially the ones about sound or video. They are charged basically because of the engine that it needs to create. For example, those computers have those graphic cards because they need to produce image. So, money. Go and ask how much a graphic card is nowadays, like the 460, 70, the 480, the 4080. So it's an investment that you did, and you expect some profit or some benefit. Okay, so it's something like that. Okay, so yeah,
look, you have this very nice comment from Jimena Ramirez related to what you were saying about how it is as teachers, the ones that in the end decide. Jimena says, that's amazing. It can show you things you wouldn't have thought about. At the end of the day, we are the thinkers, and we can decide how accurate they are or take things that work for us.
Definitely, Jimena. Definitely. But well, that's a reflection for today. It's like, oh, and we're going to see more tools. Yeah. You came here not for saying like, oh yeah, something that I can find on the internet about like a definition of the ChatGPT. No, we don't need definitions of the ChatGPT. We know about the theory, and if we don't, we are going to learn it through the practical part. So, for example, when I was at the university, I was studying, it's like, okay, Piaget said like blah, blah, blah. And when I went to teach, it was chaos. I was saying like, Piaget, why don't you come here and teach this class? Because you were like in different times with different population, with different culture and everything. So things that we know about the theoretical part are going to take form and are going to become alive when you go to the classroom, when you check your teacher's needs. Oh, Kelly, wait, because that's the next topic. Kelly was checking my presentation.
Wait, Carlos, you have to make it very fast because we are just 15 minutes to finish.
Okay, so using a tool can be considered as cheating. Oh, maybe. Okay, cheating. Well, Kelly, I think this is especially for you. AI for plagiarism. So once that you create a tool, another person, the student that says, teacher, aren't you going to grade the homework? That student who is always thinking about his or her own future and is going to question the ethical part, many things are going to appear. So GPT-0 is a it's an AI detector. So I did the exercise. I took one of the text that I created using ChatGPT and I copy and paste in GPT-0. And definitely it appeared. And it was like, this text was entirely written by an AI. And I was like, okay. So always the students, I'm not thinking as a teacher, because if you want to know what your students think, you need to think as a student, not as a teacher. It's crazy. So it's like, okay, imagine that I need to trick my teacher. Imagine that I need to go beyond what my teacher expects from me. And I say like, okay. And then I have Quillbot. Yeah, Jimena, Kelly, Jimena, wait, you're checking my presentation. I don't know why, but you're checking.
We will need to have a part 2.
Probably. So you say, okay, I am going to use Quillbot. And what I did was the practical exercise. So yes, I have it here. So I asked this to create based on my information, based on my life. I say like, I'm very lazy to write my bio data today. I just, I'm Juan Carlos, I'm a teacher and I have work on this. And the AI wrote this. And I was like, whoops. But this was for academical purposes. And I say like, remember the thing about being lazy? It's like, it's not lazy, but this is my life. I'm not cheating. I cannot cheat about my life because this is my life. This is something that I have. This is something that I have studied. This is something that I have done in my life. So can it be considered cheating? Yeah, because you didn't write it. And I say, no, but I did study this and I did all
gave
this.
the input.
Exactly. It's not like, yes, Juan Carlos, what did you do in your life? No, I fed the chat with my information and I say, could you please make my life easier? Good. So what happened? Yes, exactly. I came here to Quillbot, and it is supposed that when you copy paste the information, you take it here and you go to GPT-0, it is not going to detect it. But I did the exercise, I don't know, like 10 times. I cannot say like 50-50, but sometimes it detected that it was written by an AI, and some other times it didn't. Why? And I was saying like, why is the same text? It's the same computer. It's the same cookies. It's like, no, I didn't go to another computer or I used myself. No, it was the same. And sometimes it appears that I was cheating, and sometimes it appears that I was not cheating. So I was like thinking, and when you're saying, but as long as we're checking second language question, yes, Kali. So the thing here is that I was like reflecting upon like, if I am using an AI to trick another AI. Look where we are. so this
Well,
is
you're
complicated.
mentioning something really, really important. That is exactly what we are supposed to do with these interactions with the artificial intelligence. We are the ones that are seeing how it works and what are the inputs that we expect. That's why we do it several times. Well, you did it several times to check, to double check what is going on and why in the first time, in the second time, in the third time, it was exactly the same, but in the fourth it was different. So that's what makes us humans.
So as
Don't
you
you
can
think?
see, the first part, I copied and it's like, yes, it was written by an AI. Now I use Quillbot and now it appears like, okay, now you're a human. No, you're not a robot anymore. However, there is another one and I have it here. Wait, because you can see this one. In case that Quillbot fails, you use Copy Genius. Copy Genius, 0 times. 0 times was detected. 0 times. So what I did was like, I went to Copy Genius, I typed the same text, and it gave me 2 possible paragraphs. I think it was Laura, the one who asked. So this is the free trial. This is the free version. And of course, it's going to provide like a number of words. However, you copy one paragraph, you erase it, you copy the other one, you erase it, you copy one and erase it, and you can just play with the free version, with the trial version. Or you can pay the full version. Yes, here in Colombia, how many people are going to pay the full version? A few. But if you think about like people from different countries, from the US, from Europe, that they have the economy in order to pay one of these tools, they are going to do it. Of course, they are going to do it because they can. Because if you ask me like, this is $20 a month, I'm not thinking about dollars. I'm saying like, okay, so the dollar is like 4,000, even 5,000 pesos. So
100.
it's like, yeah, so I need to pay like 100,000 pesos a month for this. I'm not paying. But if you're earning in dollars, it's like you're paying 20,000 pesos for this. And you're going to say, no, I don't. But many people are going to. So the thing now is that if you go to the biggest social media that talks about this, because now everybody knows about, is TikTok. So people are going to give you hints, but the more tools appear, the better they try these websites to become. Why? Because what you were mentioning, every time that we use these kind of tools and we trick technology, well, you need to think about like, okay, our role as teachers. And this is like the most important part, that there are different tools to detect and to avoid detection. As teachers, do we need to know them? Of course, because some of them are going to be used for us as part of our like professional life and our daily lives, our daily routines. But the other ones, we need to know what our students are using. And you say like, no, but they don't know. They don't know yet. But at some point, they are going to discover
They will.
this.
They
Yeah.
will know, and they will teach us.
Exactly. Jaime, I'm saying something important. Is like, yeah, if you think about, I pay I pay Netflix, I pay Disney Plus, I pay Spotify Premium, I pay many things that make my life easier or happier. So you invest in yourself. If you consider that this is something that is going to help you and it's going to promote you, you are going to have a raise, you're going to have more money, definitely you're going to pay for this.
You
I
will have
would
more
pay-
time for you.
Exactly. I would pay for this in case that it was the case. So the question is like, what is the role of the teacher? Well, we need to think about adaptation, critical thinking, metacognition, long life learning. So I found another one that is called Hemingway Editor. So what is that? Well, Hemingway Editor, exactly the same. I came here. I don't think about, we're going to give you a slides. It's a public slide with all the tools that we have been mentioning today. Probably you're taking notes or you're taking pictures.
We have a
or
surprise. We have a surprise.
Yeah.
Like for
So,
being here.
just for being good students.
Yeah.
So the thing here is that I check this and I say, okay, this is another website that is going to use like, yeah, Kelly, it has been around a lot. So when you think about adaptation and everything, it's like, I have two options. One, or my students trick me, or what I do is that I help them with different tools to recognize at least this. Adverb, meeting the goal or viewer, use a passive voice. At least they go here and I say like, hey, you know what? Before you send me this paper, why don't you go here, you check, and based on the recommendations or the things, you change it yourself. That could be one thing, or I show it as part of my class. So, yeah, what Kelly's saying is the same as this. Photomath has been in my world for 9 years. I don't know how to count. I am an English teacher. Let's say 8 years. So this has been in the world for 8 years, and students are not using it. Neither teachers. How about this one for us? It's a recommendation, yes. But what you were mentioning, Kelly, but as long as we're checking second language acquisition, it's hard. What Katie mentioned at some point. We're teachers and we check on the process of my students. If I want to check products with no context, I would need to use one of these tools. For example, Adriana Sanchez is not my student, and she comes with a perfect paper. Perfect, fantastic paper. Probably she's going to do it, but I don't know her process. I have no idea. I don't even know if she speaks English. I receive a paper from a nobody and I check and I say, it's perfect. I don't know the process. But as teachers, if we check on the process and we know perfectly, we can match that. So the question is open. It's like, what can we do with these kind of elements? And as you were saying, when you were grading or marking or whatever, and after this, it's like, and as a teacher, we all know that what it feels like when grading tons of papers. If I have 100 students, because for example, I have, I don't know, 4 courses with 25 students each one, imagine you need to copy paste 100 times using the GPT-0 or there are many websites, but at some point you're going to do it 15, 20 times, 25 times, but you're not going to do it 100 times. At some point you get tired. At some point you say like, yes, I could do it, but it's so repetitive. And remember, it could fail. So maybe Adriana wrote that text and for some reason it appears that it was plagiarism, but I know that she's a good student. So the question is open and it's like, okay, can be considered cheating? Probably yes, probably no. It depends on the process. For me, it's easier because I know. So Adriana is a good student. Probably she did it. Yes, it's like my heart is there. But if I don't know her and I say like, Adriana never comes to class, she arrives late, she's always distracted. It's not that I don't trust Adriana, but if I have the tools, I could use them. How about virtual education? Students already, virtual education, think about pandemic. Students can use this, and let's say that the conclusion about this is, can a teacher can be tricked? Of course, definitely it can be tricked. There is an artificial intelligence produced by NVIDIA in which you can be reading to another computer, but it recreates your face and it's straight to the camera. Think about an exam. I am looking at you all the time, like this, all the time, but no. NVIDIA, I don't remember the name, but probably you check like NVIDIA, artificial intelligence, face recognition. So you can be like this, yes, but you see that the person is looking at the camera. So it's like, look, I'm looking at you.
There are hundreds of things that are going on here today. I mean, as we were mentioning, this technology is here and it's going to stay for so long. Yeah. Adaptation. We need to adapt, we need to learn, we need to train ourselves on how to use this. And that's why we have for you a special present, because we are about to finish, Juan Carlos. Time
yes.
was so.
Just random thing. If you check, even South Park is using ChatGPT. So there's an episode in which you can go and check. So he used it for answering to her girlfriend. Long story short, that's it. It's like, how do I look? And he goes, my girlfriend asked me how does she look, and the answer is there. So can you use it for real life? Yes.
Here, check it out.
Yeah, and well, yeah, you can check it. And well, there you are. So in case,
I have a filter. Yes, I have it.
Place it there in the chat.
I have it here. There we go. There you have some important tools and readings, very important. And as a final thing, the glossary that it's there.
This is what you have. This is what you have.
Exactly.
This is what you have, and this is the glossary, and this is like the tools that we use today, the tools that we presented today. You just click on the image, in case that click on the image to visit the website. So you click here, just in case.
And the last ones are like some additional resources. So thank you very much for being here.
Awesome.
This topic is a never-ending thing. So maybe for the future webinar, we can have a second part so we can expand a little bit more on these things.
Everybody, please be aware of it. We are going to be posting in social media many things. And I think we are on for a second part. What do you guys say in the chat? I think we can all be on for a second part. There is an ethical discussion that needs to take place here. And today we are talking about, of course, technology in education, but I think that we can have a further discussion considering that we as teachers have many ethical elements going on with this. I truly appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for joining us today. To the rest of our community, remember that in a couple of days, you will be able to see this webinar in YouTube. In YouTube, you won't have the link, maybe the QR that they showed in the end, but all the repository of our webinars is in YouTube. Follow us in social media. Remember that our call for papers closed already, but we may have some surprises for you this week because we have had many people around the country asking for some extensions. Remember also that we are meeting you the last Thursday of every month, and that we are very close to close registration for our diplomado courses, which start on April the 10th. And thank you, Juan Carlos. Thank you, Katie. This is a never-ending topic. I think that we are all very excited, looking forward to try. So while you guys copy or go to the link, let me show you our video one more time. Thank you, everybody, for attending. It's our pleasure to have you with us. So bye bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for being here.
See you next month.